an African girl,
Mm-hmm.
and we just like sparked a conversation, talked about some things, and I honestly didn't expect an African girl to. I kind of feel like our history has been sort of weaponized by the media. You know, there's a Russian saying, "Доверяй, но проверяй." We're both Europeans and the Asians, really, and but you need to earn my respect type of mindset. I noticed that a lot of foreigners, when they speak to each other, they sort of shout,
Yeah.
and like it applies to like all the foreign. It sounds really bad when I say it, but like funny accent with like bad grammar and stuff like "Hello, name Dmitry," as you said.
What's good, everyone? Welcome to the Melvin Journey. And today, I'm sure most of you have heard the saying, when you go to Rome, we do what the Romans do. And I'm currently in Russia, so we know Russia as the country of, vodka and stuff. So once I'm here, I'm going to do what the Russians do, and then we'll kick off with our interview. 1, 2, God help me. Guest is Russian, and I'm going to be asking you a couple of questions. So if you've actually read the about of the channel, you know that one of the purposes of this channel is to help bridge the gap between worlds and also to understand different cultures better. So today I'm going to be asking him a couple of questions so we actually understand Russia better from a Russian's perspective. Your name, please?
What's up? My name's Daniil, double I.
My very first question is, how did you end up speaking English?
I mean, I just learned it since the second grade because I had a really good teacher when I was, in second grade. God bless her soul, she's not with us anymore. She was very strict, but she taught real well, and I also took like extra classes with her. And then I played video games when I was younger. They were all in English. I watched English movies, cartoons, and I just basically had to learn it. Otherwise, I wouldn't understand what I was doing.
Now, the whole purpose of this particular conversation is I want to try for the viewers to understand Russia through a Russian's perspective. The perspective that we get from the media and the things that are being shown to us is that Russia is this, should I say, it's more like hey, my name is Dmitry. That kind of, yes, that kind of serious, aggressive, should I say, blackmailing, suspicious. It has a lot of negative touch to it. And when I got into this country, I've been living here for 7 years, and I don't think that's the case. So the very first question is, how do you think the rest of the world sees Russians?
I mean, just as you said, like this stereotypical, very sort of rude, heavy accent, kind of, tough and unwelcoming.
Yeah.
That's just not the case, is it? That's how the media portrays us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which of the stereotypes makes you laugh, and then which of them bothers you the most?
To be fair, the accent is quite funny. It does get old real fast, but when it's like, if it's like a comedic movie and it's done right, it's a really funny accent with like bad grammar and stuff like "Hello, name Dmitry," as you said. The stereotype that I don't like is probably, I guess, the alcoholism, because like, media portrays Russians as this like vodka-driven machines, which, to be fair, is not entirely untrue.
Okay.
But like, it does get kind of annoying when every single character in like media, if he's Russian, because like a little flask here,
Yeah, drinking
from
all the time. And personally, don't drink.
I don't drink at all whatsoever.
Coming to think of the way the rest of the world sees Russia, have you ever met a group of people from a different culture and then you had something sort of a culture shock?
Culture shock. I mean, I've met a group of Chinese students, and the way they like talk to each other and the behavior with each other is kind of, it was like not entirely different to us, but I was really surprised at how like the bowing, for example, I just sort of didn't expect that.
Okay. What's something about Russians that outsiders rarely understand? Like there's something that you guys do that we, the outsiders, don't understand at all.
I don't even know. I think it's how we behave with each other. Because if like two people who don't know each other, Russians, if they meet, they sort of open but like respectful at the same time, which I think people from other countries like are slightly different when meeting strangers. Maybe like more either like directly open or maybe directly like closeted or like closed in. But in Russian, it's like Russians have, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like you act with a stranger like he's your friend, but at the same time, a person who should like highly regard and respect.
Okay. There's something I noticed when I got here is that you guys don't say hi to everyone.
Yeah.
We say hi to everyone. Like if once I get out of my house, my mom expects me to greet everyone,
Yeah.
and somebody can go report me to my mom because I didn't say hi to them. And over here, like the neighbor gets out, he doesn't even say hi. Everybody's walking around. And the next thing is, where are you guys rushing to? Russians are always walking so fast. Why?
I don't know about like the greeting thing.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't used to be like this. If you go to like rural Russia, to villages,
Mm-hmm.
or like to small, I guess not backyards, but playgrounds,
Mm-hmm.
it used to be that you greet everyone.
Okay.
When I was younger, I'd come out of my house and I greet everyone, like my neighbors, my friends, the like elderly people sitting next to the house. But now, yeah, nowadays it's even my neighbors don't greet me. I think it's maybe like a generational thing, something like that. Yeah.
Now, what shapes the Russian mindset? Because I feel like you guys have a very patriotic mindset. Russians love their country so much. And what shapes the Russian mindset versus the rest of the world?
I feel like it's yeah. I feel like the Russian mindset, as I described already, is this sort of being respectful, open-minded, but not too welcoming. I'd say it's like there's a Russian saying "доверяй, но проверяй."
I don't understand it.
So it's to trust someone, but to still check their validity.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's that kind of like I trust you, but you need to earn my respect type of mindset.
Now, are there any other values or habits that the rest of the world could learn from Russia that you think that we can benefit from?
Mm, again, like the mindset that I described is one of them. Uh, again, in a lot of countries, you respect the seniors just because they're senior,
Yes.
and in Russia we do the same. But again, we just don't do it because they're senior. We do it because they're wiser,
Okay.
you know. And
Mhm.
I think that thinking like that I should respect this person not just because of like this one thing, but because of the like what I assume they have gone through. I don't think a lot of cultures do that. I think that should be.
Now there's, for the sake of this video, I'm going to say there's, should I say white? Is white? There's Europeans,
Yeah.
there's Africans, there's people from the East, and then there's Russians. You guys, we don't really consider you as European.
Yeah.
At least the media portrays you as a very different set of Europe. And I want to know if you guys have a unique identity between the West and the East, or
Yeah, it's called Slavic people. Okay. Which is like, yeah, Slavic people are different from Europeans, not just Russians, like Lithuanians, Polish people, all that.
what
stuff.
makes you different?
Belarusian. I think it's because the country is so big. We have a lot of influence from well, both Europeans and the Asians, really, and even Middle Eastern people, right? So everything from like the food to like the looks of the people, and to peoples themselves, the different peoples of Russia, because you can have two people from Russia, but they look vastly different, like because they have different ethnic.
I was on the way to Stavropol and I met a lot of people that looked Asian.
Yeah.
I was told the place is close to Mongolia. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, Kazakhstan, Mongolia, all those places.
All of them, I was like, nah, is this Russia? Is this the same country? Yeah. That's how I felt though. And now I want to know, how much does history, past history, influence current Russian views?
It influences like the politics, the patriotism a lot, because Russia has such a vast and rich history. You know, it's been through so many hardships and stuff. And I kind of feel like our history has been sort of weaponized by the media and by the government, like you know the 80 years of victory in the Second World War, which we call the Great Patriotic War.
Yeah.
right? And it's really nice to recognize and to respect the past, but I think it's just being used to like target our heartstrings, you know. But overall, our history, our past, it sort of binds us together. You know, it gives us a bigger sense of belonging.
Okay. Now, I am a foreigner,
Yeah.
and I want to know what's one thing that we get wrong on a daily, any single day we wake up. Is there one thing that you feel like we are doing wrong by being in Russia, our daily life?
I wouldn't say there isn't something you do wrong every day in by being in Russia if you're a foreigner. That just doesn't quite sound right.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, do we get wrong? Like, let's say we wake up and we have a lot of things that we do on a normal day. I'm going to be a bit stereotypic about this, but um, the Russian level of silence and the foreign level of silence, I think were quite noisy as compared to you guys.
Yeah.
So I want to know if there's something that foreigners do every day that is quite off. It's quite
I mean,
easy to notice.
there is one thing. Yeah. I noticed that a lot of foreigners when they speak to each other, they sort of shout,
Yeah.
and like it applies to like all the four. It sounds really bad when I say it, but like I've seen Indian people, I've seen like Middle Eastern, I've seen African guys. They all shout at each other when speaking to each other, which I know for like Arabic people is sort of the norm because they do it. I don't know if it's the norm for the other.
For my country, it depends on where you're from. The people who are close to the sea are used to shouting because they are fishermen, and because of that, the waves.
Yeah, the very crashing
yeah.
loud sounds.
So they are used to shouting. But the rest of us, shouting is also considered quite
Quite
abnormal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting actually.
Well, now, how do people in Russia deal with challenges or hard times?
There is a saying again in Russia, терпение и труд, все перетрут. Or
Patience.
patience and the hard work will grind everything down or will help us overcome everything. And it's been true for like generations basically. You know, if at first you don't succeed, just do it again. Just keeping on until you get it, basically.
Now, if someone asked you to describe what makes you feel Russia, what would you say?
I feel like it's the sense of like patriotism because I highly regard, highly respect Russian culture and Russian history. And I don't know, even if I end up moving out of Russia, I'd still hold it near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. And with this, I'd like to say something. People from the African continent, all of us, should I say all of us? No, I'm not part, but a lot of us want to leave our countries in the search of something better. And anytime we leave our countries, we end up forgetting that this is where we're from. We want to align with another country. And I'm not going to say it's specifically wrong, but if we can adopt the mentality of saying that this is where I'm from and I'm proud of it, and I would actually want to help with change or to start something that would benefit my home country or my home continent, it's actually something that is going to help. I've noticed a sense of patriotism among Russia that even if we could develop about like 10-20% of something of that sort, we would actually go a long way. Now, what kind of conversations do you usually have with your friends about life or about the rest of the world?
I mean, also different stuff, really. It depends on what day it is. It depends on what we're talking about, what happened that day. But mostly we just talk about stuff. We just talk about life in general, really.
Are there some things that you can talk about openly, and some of the things that you have to go private talking about? Because one thing I know for sure is that Russians will never talk about the government. So I want to know if it's something that you can. There's some things that maybe you talk about privately, and some things that you don't talk about.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, the politics, government, we don't talk about it openly. Just
it's a very good thing, to
keep
be
it
honest.
really nice. Yeah.
Now, is there something in Russia that works really well? Like, should I say, one thing that you guys have adopted that works really so well for you, and then other people won't expect that is what is working this well for the Russians?
I feel like it's the whole like technology in Russia is really advanced,
Yes, I was
which
also
people like
surprised.
wouldn't expect. Yeah,
Mhm.
see, like how we pay with the credit cards everywhere. Like you can go to the bus, you can go to the shop,
Mhm.
even markets these days, like just bazaars.
Yes, to buy meat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can just pay with card.
Mhm.
And the internet in Russia is like one of the best. It's one of the cheapest, one of the best internets, one of the fastest. A lot of Russia has access to the internet, which again you would expect. Like rural areas
Yes, yeah.
have internet. We aren't going to talk about like how many sites are blocked and stuff
Mhm.
because you can. There are ways around it. Let's just
Okay.
say that.
Now, if Russia were a person,
Yeah.
just one human being, how are you going to describe him?
Them first of all, but yeah, I think it's a guy. Honestly,
Okay. Mhm.
despite I think Russia is like Rodinamite, if you know.
No, I don't know.
The giant statue in, God, where is it? Volgograd, I think, but there's like a giant statue, which is called the Rodinamite. So it's motherland, the great motherland.
Yeah.
So Russia has been portrayed by Russian people as this like woman.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be a guy,
Yeah, it's
in
going
my
to be a
opinion.
guy for sure.
Yeah, it's like tough looking, maybe like battle scarred, if you could say, guy with like a lot of interesting stories to tell, like a lot of them. So like the type of wise guy who like sits outside on the porch and just you know.
Okay. What's something in another culture that felt very strange to you at first, but now you look at it and like, okay, it's not that bad. I actually like it.
I think it's the so I used to watch a lot of like videos about Japanese people, Japanese logs. The way people like professionally and formally conduct themselves with each other, where it's very common to like you have to like bow a certain way, you have
Yeah.
to you can't handshake, you have to like give a gift to your boss in a certain way, and all that I felt like strange. But then I was like, you know what? They have a point.
Mhm.
He is your boss. You should
Yeah.
respect them.
Mhm.
So, like that whole Japanese work culture relationships thing, I at first it felt alienated, strange, but now I think it's a good practice.
Now, there's something that I'd want to share is I noticed you guys don't accept gifts. Yeah, because there was once where I thought I lost my phone at the bus station, and I found out after close 5 to 10 minutes that I didn't have my phone.
Mhm.
And then I went back to the bus station, and then I found this old lady sitting with my phone. She was waiting for me for close to 10 minutes, knowing that I would come back and come and get my phone.
Yeah.
And when she handed me the phone, I gave her, I think there was a 2000 ruble note, blue one. I don't see it anymore. I don't know where
Yeah.
it is, but I gave her, I think I gave her a 2000 ruble note, and
Yeah.
she refused.
Well, yeah, because that was like I wouldn't say it was a gift. It was more so like a thank you.
Yes, it's a thank you gift.
Yeah, but like a gift should be something.
It
I
came
don't,
from the heart, though. But
yeah, but like she didn't. I think it's because she didn't, and like as if I were on her place, I wouldn't accept it either, because it was not really. It was a necessity. Like she and everyone in her place, as a good person, should have returned your phone. And like 2,000 ruble bill is, I feel like quite a lot for an old lady. Like she'd look at this and think that you need it more than she does.
yeah, and that was in 2019.
Yeah, and that was a lot of money back
Yeah.
then.
But
Still is today.
in my country, standard practice, if somebody helps you,
Yeah.
they're expecting something in return. So when I came here and then I realized that, okay, not everybody thinks like that, I felt like that was a certain practice we also needed to learn, just to help people because you want to.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you've learned from people of other countries that has changed how you see your own country?
Yeah. So I've learned. I have like quite a lot of friends from around the globe, internet friends, obviously. A lot of them are from the US,
Okay.
and what I've learned from them is you shouldn't, both like directly and just by observing them, is that patriotism isn't directly like a blind devotion to your country.
Yes.
Because like a lot of like stereotypical American, like USA,
Yeah, yeah.
USA. Um, it's more so about respecting the culture and being able to separate the ruling party, the government, from the country itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what basically what I learned. So, but because when I was younger, way back before the war, I didn't like the fact that I was Russian,
Okay.
and I wasn't really patriotic about it because again, the government
Yeah, okay.
basically. But then over the years, again, by talking to my American friends, I learned that I should be proud of being Russian. I should be patriotic, but like it doesn't mean that I.
Now, do you think Russians are more private or more expressive than people in other countries?
I think it depends because when you first meet a Russian person, I think they're going to be more shut in, not as expressive as you said. But then when you get to know them, they're basically just like you'll come to their house as if it's your own, and you can actually see that happening if do you know Bolden Bankrupt, the YouTuber?
No.
No, so there's like this British guy who just used to travel Russia and like all the other countries. Now he doesn't travel Russia because of obvious reasons. But there were like a lot of, I guess, recurring characters. There were like Russian grannies and granddads, grandpas, who he'd come to.
Okay.
He'd talk to them. They'd be like, they wouldn't really want to talk to him, but then they sort of next time he came, they'll be like, "Oh, hey, hello, like come take a seat."
Okay. How do you feel when you meet foreigners living in Russia or people that are visiting for the first time?
Well, first of all, I feel like slightly weird because like, why would you choose Russia? But I mean, for visitors, it's fine because there's like a lot of heritage, a lot of beautiful sights to see. For people living here, I must, well, first of all, congratulate them because living here is actually kind of nice, especially if you're like Russian yourself and can get like prosecuted.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. Yeah. But yeah, I just feel sort of strange because I don't know why people would choose Russia or like other, let's say, more European countries and stuff.
I don't think we really. Okay, we had a choice, but the thing was, the offer of Russia was made really sweet because
tax incentives, right? Like
yes, and the fee structure and everything.
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
kind of felt like Russia was the place to be, and when we got here, we realized that. To be honest, Russia is the place to be. Sometimes, just a bit. Now, what's one thing about international students that surprised you the most? I know we've already talked about how we talk to each other by shouting, not me. But I want to know what other thing has surprised you the most about international students?
I feel like it's like the dichotomy of the two types of students that come here because some come just for like the visa and the non-existent taxes,
I thought
basically.
you guys didn't know about that. I thought you think we're all here to study.
I mean, I worked at the admission committee. I know that.
Okay.
Because there are some who just come here to not study, right? Just visa, taxes, and they don't speak Russian. They aren't very polite. Let's be honest. And then there's like the opposite, the polar opposite of that. Extremely polite, great Russian, and they like very diligent, they're here to actually study, and you can see that in them.
Yeah.
Because when I worked in the admission committee, there'll be like one hard studying guy who could speak Russian, and like behind him 10 guys who couldn't speak Russian.
They just here to work.
Yeah, and he would like translate for all of them basically.
Okay. Now, if someone spent a week in Russia, what would you want them to experience?
Okay, a week is like not a long time, but I
Okay,
think
let's say a month.
Okay, a month. Now there we go. Now we're talking. I reckon it's gotta be like St. Petersburg, Moscow, and Vladivostok.
Okay.
Right? To experience the heritage, the amazing buildings, both in St. Petersburg, Moscow, Vladivostok, and then after that, go to like a rural area, go to some just like random village, talk to people, look at the sights, because it's beautiful and the people are so friendly and the hospitality is off the charts.
Okay. Have you ever had a moment with someone from a different culture and that moment really struck you like, okay, this person is really different?
I wouldn't say like really different, but there was a moment when I was in, I think, middle of high school, which is like Lyceum number 6, or not Lyceum, how do you say it?
What, grade
Lycée.
6? What?
How do you say Lycée in English?
Let's say faces.
No, not Lycée, not face, like a
Personalities.
school. No, a school. It's called Lycée in Russian.
No, I don't know it.
It's like a school, but more bougie. I'd
But
say.
more bougie. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's say an academy.
Kind of like an academy, I guess. Except it's public funded. I didn't have to pay to get in. I was just smart enough to get in. But basically, like I was, let's just say in school, middle school, high school, I don't remember. And we had an English class, and during that class, they brought in people from TSU, and they were from, I don't know what part of Africa they were from, but I got sat next to like an African girl, and we just like sparked a conversation, talked about some things, and then she started talking about Christianity, and I honestly didn't expect an African girl to like speak about Orthodox Christianity, not even like Catholic. It was like Orthodox Christianity. She had like a crucifix on her and stuff.
Yeah.
And I also have one. I'm not religious. I just have it like for the sake of my mother and my grandmother. But that just really stuck with me. The fact that someone so far away, who looks so different, who has like a different culture, still has like this big sort of connection to Russia. Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you could send a message, or no, before that question, I want to ask if you knowing another language, because you speak English.
Yeah.
I want to know if there has ever been a time where you felt like, okay, I'm like a bridge between two worlds. You ever feel like you've connected, Yeah,
I mean, again, when I worked on the admission committee, people would come in, they wouldn't be able to speak proper Russian, so I would just translate from English to Russian.
Okay.
And vice versa.
Now, if you were to send a message from real everyday Russians, not the type we see on TV, what message would it be to the rest of the world?
We ain't as bad as you think we are. just don't trust what the media says. We're good people. We're again people just like you are. We're on some crazy bots, ruining Twitter for you. So just be more open-minded about Russian people.
Okay. Thank you very much for sticking to the end of this video. And Daniel, thank you very much for making it. If we give you a gift, you would refuse anyway. So just a big thank you. And if you've made it,
thank you for having me on.
Thank you. If you've made it this far to the end, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, so it actually gains more publicity and then we get more engagement. I'll see you guys in the next one.